So, welcome back to the NCA Podcast. I'm absolutely delighted to say we've got Warren Spragg, head coach at Fylde with us. Thanks very much for joining us, Warren. Just finished training with the lads out there. How did it go?
Not the best session we've had all year. We trained last Tuesday, was the only session that we did last week, and it felt tonight like we had a bit too much time off. But we were okay. Hopefully we got through what we needed to be able to prep properly on Thursday for a big game on Saturday.
A couple of lads said it was tough weather conditions out there. That probably didn't help either.
It's what we've had all year. It's been the worst year I can remember in terms of weather.
Terrible.
We usually, we like playing decent rugby on a nice flat wide pitch in dry weather, and we've not had a chance to do it all year. It's muddy, it's wet, it's really windy, but we're actually cracking on and adapting pretty well. So yeah, lads are doing all right.
You say adapting pretty well there. 5 games to go in the season. Currently third in the league, banging this race for the top 2 finish. Is this how you expected the season to go and wanted the season to go for you guys, Warren?
I don't know about expected, because rugby's mad. You prepare as well as possible, and sometimes things go completely against you, and sometimes things would surprise you that when you think things aren't going so well. We had some injuries early on in the year, some quite big ones. We went into some games with teams that would probably felt like were underprepared, and we really performed. We went on a massive run, up to January where we were really strong and near enough untouchable. And since then the lads grown in confidence enormously. So around about Christmas we sort of looked, actually, if we keep our run going and we keep our form right, we probably get towards the Hull game and be up there in contention. I didn't expect to be going to Hull above them in the league, if I'm being honest. Other people slipped away a little bit and we kept going, so really pleased with that. And then we got done 5-0 at Hull, and that was quite frustrating. We just got it wrong on the day. We made too many mistakes, but we've bounced. We've responded to it, and we've had some good wins, and now we're in a scrap, and it's going to be really exciting last 5 games for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, this time last year, Warren, we spoke about what you wanted from the club going forward, and it's a really young squad you guys have. And against, was it Stourbridge or Southwest, you had one of the youngest squads, if not the youngest squad Fylde I've ever had going out there. So how pleased are you with the progress this side has made? Because this was sort of your vision, if I'm right in saying that you wanted this young squad to develop this year, and this year in National 2 North was a good year for you.
When you're leading, a club, whether you're head coach, director, rugby, whatever it is, you've got to work out what your identity's got to be at a team. And when I took over, a year and a half ago, I don't know how bloody long ago it is, but when I took over and looked at, assess the situation and where the club is and what the club needs to be sustainable and successful, it needs to be done this way.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's way too expensive, and you're also going to get players who are in it for the wrong reason. When I was here as a player, we had a lot of very experienced players who'd played around the leagues, done really well, and actually could come together, enjoy training, and go out and perform really well on a Saturday. We're successful in National 1, but actually once a group of older players moved on, there wasn't the right youth coming through, really. Lads had probably drifted along with experienced older players and not done the hard yards in terms of learning how to be at the level. And once those older players dropped off, we probably didn't have the experience or the strength. So we had to restart and make sure that we worked really hard to make our young lads as good as possible. And they've grafted, and they're pretty good now.
Yeah, and like you mix this role with your role at Sale Sharks as well. How good is it having the players from Sale Sharks here to develop at a club a bit more under your tutorage?
So my primary job is as academy coach at Sale, and that's 40 hours a week. In reality, it's 50 or 60, and it's long days. It's a great job, working with some real good kids and real good young adults there. And I'm lucky that being at Fylde is a good place for young players to come in and play. And actually, a bit of luck this year that the players that have come in have been available to play a lot. They've been healthy, so the lads have come in and they've not been nursing any injuries. They've not had first team opportunities at Sharks, which Gus Wars had a few first team opportunities, but Cal Ford, Sam Dugdale, Bevan Rod, who've played quite a lot. They've not had that many opportunities, so been a bit fortunate in terms of how much game time Fylde have got out of these players, because their priority is not playing for Fylde. Their priority, the role and my responsibility for those players is, as a Sharks coach, is to try and support their development the best way possible. And if that means that's playing in Premiership Shield, if that means it's playing at Fylde, if that means it's playing at Sale FC, Caldy, Doncaster, whatever it is, we've got to make the right decision for those players. So we're not bringing him to Fylde to help Fylde out. It's nothing to do with that. It's trying to find the best environment for those players. It's fortunate that Fylde works. There's equally these lads at Preston Grasshoppers who are going really well, having a good experience. Lads at Sale FC. Now we've got a lad who's playing over at Caldy. Lads are at different clubs, and they're all this year actually they're all getting really good experiences around the national leagues.
Yeah, of course. And then I forgot my question.
No, I think what Joe was going to say was about this link, and it seems really strong across all those National League teams, but in Fylde in particular, is it just a sign of things to come in terms of that link with Sale? Do you think it's going to strengthen over the next couple of years for you guys?
Look, I mean, speaking from a Sharks point of view, the most important thing is it's the right relationship to make the player develop. And if the National League club or Championship club ideally is a good enough environment to support that player development, and it can work in terms of training times and schedules and an actual definite time on the pitch, then it actually doesn't really matter which club the players were going to. It's just got to fit properly. So that takes coaches who understand the needs of the players, a club that can support it. So stuff that we would do in terms of if we're agreeing on game time that a player will have on a Saturday, then we need to stick to that as Fylde. I can control that as Fylde coach, but that's part of making sure that the deal works. We've got to look after the players, so they need to be fed after training. You need to have the appropriate medical support and stuff, and we do that well as Fylde. So I can't say that Fylde are going to have a stronger link than anybody else just because I'm here. It's got to be whatever's right for the players, and if other clubs provide a better environment for the players, then they would go to other clubs, and that's how it needs to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and you talk about feeding the players, like we've never come across that in any other national clubs. I mean, we know a few players at different clubs. So how important is that to you? Like just making sure the lads get fed and make sure everyone gets cared for in a better way maybe than the other clubs?
Yeah. What you need to make sure that you're doing is, if anything can be done that's not costing you a loads of money, but it can make the environment better, then you'd be mad not to do it. So this needs to be a good place for the lads to be socially, as well as rugby. So they need to turn up to an environment that's professional, where they get the medical care that's as professional as it would be in a full-time club. They've got our gym's not the best in the world, but it's there, it's open, and a lot of lads will get in there and train before. As coaches, we're under pressure to make sure that we're delivering really good training sessions. They need to be able to have a hot shower, and they need to get some food before they clear off home, and that way the 3-4 hours that they're out on a Tuesday and Thursday evening is enjoyable, and they're getting better. And I think that's important. The food, it's an expense for the club, but I think it's something that makes a big difference overall, really.
Yeah, and just a couple more from us, Warren. Back on to the weekend, you've got Chester, obviously at home, probably the standout game across all three national leagues this weekend. I mean, how big of a challenge do you expect it to be on Saturday afternoon?
Chester are good. We broke their record. They've been unbeaten at home for 11 months when we went there, and we had a really good performance against them. I thought we were very, very strong defensively. And we were nervous going into that game because we knew they're good at the set piece. We've got big forwards. They've got some real good standout individuals up front. Number 8, very, very good player. Goes real well for them, and we knew that we had to shut them down at source, and we knew that they moved the ball really well out wide. Now on the day, they had a couple of opportunities that they bombed when they went out wide, and managed to tackle them into touch, and they didn't quite score. Defensively, we were good. We took our chances, so we had a really good result up there. I've been watching them. We always watch whoever we play in the last 2 or 3 games that they've played, just to get an idea of trends, what sort of things that they might be doing. They've had a few off games. They've dropped a few league points, but they're a good team. They're physical. They've got quality all across the pitch. They play some good rugby. They're a good group of lads who enjoy themselves. J-Lo is in charge there. Played with J-Lo for Lancashire. Top bloke, real good coach. Definitely a good environment to be in. So they're doing stuff right at Chester. I just hope it's a really good game and we win it.
Yeah, you win it. Just finally for us, Warren, you used the word bounce back before, and after that Hull Ionians defeat, there's always going to be a bit of disappointment because you're in such good form, but those 2 really solid wins against South Leicester and Stourbridge have just generated that momentum that you had before. So how much of a statement would it be for you guys to get the win on Saturday and keep going in these final 4 games, these final hurdles, if you like, before the end of the season?
Without it, look, everyone we play is really good. If you say which is our easy game in the last 5, there's not one.
Is it Otley and Sedge?
We've got Chester this weekend, who are second. We then away at Wharfdale. And Fylde away at Wharfdale is hard. I've been there as a player quite a few times. Hostile. Their announcer at the ground starts chirping at us as soon as we're going. Their supporters, great supporters, really vocal for a whole team, for a home team, but it's hostile for an away team.
And
a lot of our lads have never been there before.
Right.
A lot of our lads have never been to Wharfdale, so that in terms of an experience will be different. So that'll be a really big test for us if they get to play towards the River second half, which for them is a massive thing psychologically. There's loads of little things when you go away to Wharfdale that you need to get right to be able to get a win. And if the conditions are bad, then they'll love that. They do throw it around a lot this year, to be fair, though. So Wharfdale's tricky. We're then away to Huddersfield. I've not been away to Huddersfield before. Most of the players haven't been away there. They're 4th at the moment, but they could well be above us by the time we go up there. They want to get promoted, so that's going to be difficult. Sedge are flying, so Sedge have got to come here as our last home game. They've got players back fit. They've sorted their they've sorted their defence out, and they've been leaking tries all over the place that they'd never leaked last season, so they're going to be a hard team to be up against. And then we're at Otley away, who are on the best run of form out of everyone in the league.
For the last few years,
so Otley are flying. They've had a points deduction this week, haven't they? They lost. They've had 4 points taken off them because they played a 16-year-old in a second team game. So first team have lost 4 league points, which will be a sickener for them. But we could be going to Otley with both teams having something to play for in terms of top 2, if everyone gets it right between now and the end of the season. So no time, no breathing space, no weeks off. It's going to be brutal, but that's why we do it.
Yeah, well, good luck for the weekend, Warren. Thanks very much for your time this evening, and all the best for the rest of the season.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much. And now we're joined with fullback Tom Carleton. Been a good season. We were just talking actually just a bit off air. It's going to be, you could realistically hit 60 games in a row for Fylde.
Yeah. When you put it like that, it's a bit daunting to think about. But I've been lucky. I've not really picked up any injuries past 2 seasons with the club now. And as long as Spraggy keeps picking me, then 5 more games to go, and I'll hit 60 games in a row for the club at the end of the season, which would be a great thing to do.
Yeah. And how long have you been with the club?
I initially joined Fylde. I think it was 3 seasons ago, and I joined halfway through the season, so I joined around Christmas time, January time, and I played a lot of games for the 2s before breaking into the first team for the last 5 or 6 games under Paul Arnold in his last season for the club. And then going into the last season, I was under Spraggy. I started playing a lot more regularly, 30 games last season, and then 25 games this season, 24 games this season, yeah.
Good effort. And then your try scoring efforts have not gone unnoticed by the club. How many tries so far this season?
22 tries, I think it is.
So we were
now.
trying to credit you before you came in, and we thought you had 24.
Yeah. Well,
you'll take 24.
My mum probably keeps up more with it than I do. She's the one who's always texting me after the game saying, "Oh, you're second in the try in National 2 now." So I just usually wait until she tells me what I'm on. So I think I'm pretty.
Is that an aim to go top? Is it? Or
hopefully, yeah. We'll see what happens. I'm not trying to think about it too much. I'm just playing how it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're obviously focusing on the team, like you just say there, Tom. Big game on the weekend against Chester, but we spoke to Greg just previously, and he was talking about the word momentum, and you guys seem to have generated that, especially over the last 2 games against South Leicester and Stourbridge.
Yeah, definitely. I think the way that I like to think about it is everyone knows that we had quite a difficult season last year.
Yeah.
And I think the good thing that Spraggy managed to do was we kept the core group of players. We'd lost very few players moving into this season. So the start of this season was always getting building that winning mentality early on. I think we did that, and we've definitely done that now. We're in a place now where we're winning games, we're building that momentum, and it's just about continuing that now as long as we can keep it up.
Yeah, and you touched on last season, and we spoke to Warren, I think probably this time last year, and he said about how young the squad was, and you talk about it sticking together. That seemed to be his plan. Is that part of the vision, to keep this young squad together as long as possible?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, the young core of the squad. I mean, well, I'd probably consider myself part of that. We're all really good mates, like off the pitch as well. So we'll see each other during the week, even when we're not at training. So we're all scattered around different universities in the northwest. Some at Lancaster, Manchester Met, UCLan, but we still managed to keep up with each other away from training as well, which is a really good thing, because I think it's really starting to pay off on the pitch. We're building those relationships off the pitch, and then I think it's starting to show for us on the pitch as well now.
Yeah, because you and Nick Ashcroft, you're at uni together, is that right?
Yeah, we're at Lancaster together, yeah.
Yeah, so, and you two both went on the England Counties Under-20s tour in the summer, and I think you were the first player that I've ever seen from a national club featured on England Rugby for that try.
Yeah,
so how was that tour? Because that was under Arnie as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was... I've been on 3 tours with the Counties programme now, so I did the 18s, we went over to Ireland, played against Ireland and France, and I did the 20s 2 seasons ago. We went over to Holland, which was a really good tour, but then the tour last year to Georgia was head and shoulders the best tour that I've been on with the Counties programme, to go over there and win 2 games against a very strong Georgia 20 side that then went on just weeks later to be successful in the Under-20s Championship was a massive thing, and those 2 games over there, to grab 2 wins over there was massive. It was a great experience.
Yeah, and just you mentioned Arnie there, and you mentioned at the moment this club under Spraggy. I mean, how keen are you to stay part of this club and stay on this journey, Tom?
Oh, when me and Spragg had a chat a few weeks ago, I made it quite clear that I really do enjoy playing for Fylde. Like, it's where I want to be. I mentioned earlier about how I've got loads of my friends here. Like, the core of the squad is my best mates at the end of the day. Yeah. So in terms of like, would I want to go anywhere else? No, not really. I mean, this is where I want to be playing my rugby. And with me being at Lancaster, I'm in my 2nd year at university now. I've still got another year to go up there, so I'm in around the area for another year and a bit yet. So I'm really happy with where I'm at the moment. Yeah, it's going well.
And just focusing on this weekend, huge game coming up against Chester, and Joe mentioned previously that you were the first side to beat Chester away from home this season. So going into this weekend, that must give you confidence, and also a couple of big weeks coming up as well for you guys. Yeah,
I think if we look back at some of the results that we've had this season, I think that away win at Chester was most certainly one of our best results. I mean, in terms of the performance, it probably was a few things that we could have improved on, but from an attacking point of view anyway. But I think our defensive performance in that game was definitely what won us that game. We shut Chester out for a lot of the game, and I think that's what we're going to have to do again this weekend if we want to repeat that.
Absolutely. And just finally from us, Tom, how big of a statement would it be for Fylde to get into that top 2 this season, or even go up automatically?
Oh, I think it'd be massive. I mean, that's the objective that we set out at the start of the season. I mean, it's been pretty clear that's what we've been wanting to do all season. So I think it's in our hands now. Like we said, we've just got to focus game to game on what our goal is, and pretty much every week's cup final for us now, and we've just got to keep winning our games, keep building that momentum, and I'm sure the league will sort itself out from there.
Well, good luck for the weekend, Tom, and thanks very much for joining us.
No problem, lads. Thank you.
And we're joined now with Greg Smith, the fly half for Fylde. How are you, Greg? Just had a pretty tough training session by the looks of things.
Yeah, it's been a tough session. Weather was against us a little bit, but just obviously building now for the game on the weekend. So
yeah, of course, and it is quite a big game at the weekend, 2 versus 3. So how do you feel like your preparation? I know it's only early on in the week, but how do you feel like it's going so far?
Not too bad. Tonight could have been a little bit better, but obviously on a Tuesday, it's sometimes you're just building. We'll try and crack on a few things on Thursday, and then hopefully get rolling ready for Saturday. Build ourselves up and hopefully get a good result on the weekend.
Yeah, and of course a 2-week break as well, which obviously is kind of probably adding to the ring rustiness as well.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, sometimes it's not good for momentum, but at the same time we've got some sore bodies and stuff, so it's been good to rest a few of the lads. Have a weekend off. Do whatever you feel like you want to do on the weekend, and fly back into it now, and there's a few big games coming up.
Yeah, you touched on the word momentum there, Greg. I know you guys suffered a defeat to Hull Ionians, but you bounced back superbly. I think South Leicester and Stourbridge with 2 big wins. So how much has that done for the confidence going into this weekend?
Yeah, it's good for the confidence. Hull was a bit of a wake-up call. I think we got a bit complacent, a bit cocky. Probably thought we were, a bit better than what we are at times. When we put our minds to it, we're a very good side, but I think we just went into it just feeling like we was going to get the win no matter what. So it was maybe a kick up the backside, as they say, and bounced back in good style. Two big wins, but again, now it's all about kicking on again and finishing the season well.
How long have you been with Fylde, Greg?
This is my third season.
Yeah,
Third
so you've
season
been
now.
sort of through the transition of RD to Warren, National 1, National 2 North, so how has that gone for you guys, and is there sort of now a clear vision of where you guys want to go in the next couple of years?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, the first year we come in, we ended up losing a lot of the lads at the end of that first year, and then a big transition with the lads coming through, a lot of young lads. But now, I don't really feel like the young lads anymore. They're more. Some of them are more leaders than others. They've got a lot more appearances than a lot of lads. So now we're building, and I think the squad is really coming together. Warren's got a big aim now to getting the club back to where he feels they belong, which is National 1 at least. So yeah, I don't see any reason why with these young lads that, you know, in the next 5 to 6 years that they're going to be a strong National 1 side again.
Yeah, and in terms of your personal season, Greg, I think, if I'm right in saying, you're second highest points scorer in the league, so that must be really pleasing that you've been able to contribute to this success you guys have had so far. Yeah,
it's always nice to get a few points. It's a lot easier, you know, kicking the goals when people are scoring a lot of tries. So yeah, really, that's my job, and as long as I can do that and help the team in my way, then that'll do me.
And we spoke to Alan just briefly, the media manager here, that you guys were the first team to actually beat Chester away from home this season. So what do you expect from them coming to your place on the weekend?
Chester are a big strong set of forwards, move the ball well. And they're a solid set, so we expect them to come down, be tough up front. But again, if we play our game, I feel that we can get one over them, and we'll see on the weekend.
Yeah, because you did all right against them earlier on in the season. I think the only side to go to Chester and win so far. So does that give you a bit of confidence coming into another big game again at the top?
Yeah, massively. I mean, playing at home, we should always feel confident. We're a strong side when we play here. But again, like I always say, it's up to us to maybe make sure we turn up on Saturday. But yeah, beating them away obviously always gives you a bit of confidence. But we know that they'll come firing, and we've got to make sure we put a big display in.
Yeah, just finally from me, Greg, you touched on that actually right at the start, that you guys do have a couple of big games coming up. Chester on the weekend, I think it's Huddersfield as well in a couple of weeks' time. So how big are the next 5 weeks for you guys, do you think?
Yeah, if you look at our fixtures, Huddersfield, I think Sedgley Park here, Otley, who again on a massive run. So we have no easy game till the end of the season now. So, but it's a challenge, and I think all the lads are looking forward to it. You know, there's no reason why we can't back ourselves in them 5 games. But again, we've got to do it. Pointless talking about it.
Absolutely. Well, Greg, thanks very much for joining us this evening, and all the best for the weekend.
No, thanks very much.